Hello, hello, hello. I got to warn you guys, you have caught me in a chipper mood today. I was up extra early talking to some amazing people in Ireland, and I know that we have a huge listenership in Ireland. So we got some good stuff coming down your pipeline. Just saying, just saying. Anyways, mission accepted. Do you know why you're here? That's the question that every entrepreneur asks themselves a number of times. What am I doing here? What did I say yes for? Okay, so many times we have this opportunity to take something on. It's called mission accepted. So apparently at some point you said yes to something. All these entrepreneurs that we have on the show, they said yes, usually within the confines of their mind first, and then they took it to the world. Some people have been forced into entrepreneurship. Some people have been dragged. Some people have been raised in a family of entrepreneurs, and it was just the next step for them to step into it, or then maybe step out of that into something for themselves, right? Or you may have gone and went to school and got an MBA and did all your research and decided to take that next step. Doesn't tend to be the way, but there's nothing wrong with that. Many times I was like, maybe I should have really thought about this first. Maybe I should have introduced myself to a CFO before I decided to take on this quest. Anyways, you guys, I am super excited because we have Chad with us today. And Chad and I met through authorship. We were both in a publication, and you know what? His words screamed out at the page. And I know you know what I mean by that. When you're looking at something and something highlights itself to you, or a book falls on the floor in front of you, or you keep finding that same business card of, this person that you met 4 years ago and you don't know why. Well, it's kind of like that. So I'm a bit of a signs person. If something speaks loud, I tend to listen to it. And so that's what happened when I was reading about Chad's story. So it was amazing. Super happy he's got some time with us because he is in the beginning of a business that is exploding, which is what we all want to hear. That's all good. Those growth problems. Anyways, Chad, I'm super excited about hearing your story today. So welcome to Mission Accepted.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good, good. Thanks for coming to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited. This is awesome.
Okay. Well, you know what? Let's get started. So I know you through this amazing company, and honestly, I'm so glad they just arrived. Thank you for the letter,
Oh,
by the way.
perfect.
So I love the name of his company, Spice Addicts. So look at the cool thing about this name is I love when things are true. We all have probably, a lot of spices in our cabinet because it's like flavor. Okay, so I don't know if we're necessarily going to talk everything about Spice Addicts right now, because
Yeah.
I'd love to know a little bit more about you, and then tell us how this all came to be,
No, for
Mr.
sure.
I can't stay in stock successful. And I know why, because I saw the box and I'm like, like the box smelled. The box, my son brought up the box and he's like, something smells in here. And I'm like, because it kind of smells like steak, but that's not, and I'm like, I go, crack it open. It was like this big aroma. I mean, I'm a huge aroma fan. I'm like,
Yeah.
this big aroma, and you've got this like 18-year-old son who I've raised to cook. He's like, so what do we got? Like, what do we got going on in here?
Oh,
And I
that's
was like,
awesome. Have you
yeah,
tried them all?
I'm not yet. They just
Not yet?
arrived and
Okay.
you were very generous. So we haven't tried them all, but I have I'm a lemon pepper fan. So I was super happy about that. Okay, look, Mr. Chad, how did you decide to become an entrepreneur? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, when I was little, my parents started their own company, and I was about 3 years old. And from there, I started helping them doing just sweeping the floor in the shop and stuff like that. So we've always been in business since I was wee little, and we've branched out to multiple different companies. And now I just like, you know what? I like working with my family, but it's time for me just to do something for me. I didn't know what the heck that was going to be, but the spice company was the last thing on my mind. And yeah, we kind of were scared, me and my ex at the time, because it's something completely different, because it's food. People have comments about food. If it's good, if it's bad, if it's bad, I didn't want to have that. So I was really nervous. And I thought about, oh no, I shouldn't do this. But then I just like, you know what, let's do it. And I'm very happy I did. It's been
So
awesome journey.
yeah, so that's interesting. Let's talk about that. There's lots there to unpack. So first of all, you were raised in an entrepreneurial home, and
Yeah.
it's interesting because my children are as well. happen as well. And one's really delving in, and one delved in and then fell in love with corporate. So
Oh,
sometimes
okay.
I think when you're in something, you're like, oh, I'm never going to do that. And then when my son announced at 15 he wanted to be an entrepreneur, I'm like, you've seen the dining room table, right? Like, we barely get to eat there because it's covered in papers. Like, do
Oh,
you know what you're doing?
yeah, I won't show you mine.
Exactly, right? The truth behind it all. And so you decided to branch out. Now, tell me, how did you? I don't think people just sit around and go, spices. How did you decide to go from, because your family business is not food, right? It's
Oh
completely
no, we're
different.
in towing, automotive,
Yeah,
and oil
yeah,
field.
yeah. So knowing that, I was like, okay, let's talk about that. So, obviously the fundamentals, but what got you into doing spices?
From a very young age, I'm from a Polish background, so all my aunts and grandparents and stuff cooked and cooked good homemade food. And so I was taught, you know, you don't put artificial stuff in your food because you don't need it and it makes it taste
Yeah,
worse and it's bad for you. So that's how I came about with the company is no artificialness because we don't need it. You just taste
right.
the pure flavor, which is way better for you.
Right. So obviously the idea for food came from the fact that you were raised and you experienced good food and
Oh
wanted
yeah.
to share that with others. Now, I think I remember when we were chatting before that, you started to have some pretty immediate success that was kind of surprising to you. Like
Oh,
you
big
were you
time.
were taking yeah, you were making spices for, I think you were making some spices for some friends, if I remember correctly. And
Oh
then
yeah.
people were like, "Oh, this is really good," and this is really good. And
Yeah, at
then you
first they were just gifts for Christmas. I just made my
yeah.
Italian blend and just gave it out to a whole bunch of different friends and family. And then next year for Christmas, I did the same thing, and everybody was like, there better be some Italian in there." I was like, "Well, I don't know." Well, of course there was. And then about 2 months after that Christmas, I got phone calls. "So we're out. You actually need to start selling this because we will buy it." And I just laughed at them because I was like, "No, that's okay. I don't think I have time for that." And no, but then I thought about it and thought about it over that course of that year. And then I was a little bit reluctant to go into registries and register my business, but I did
Mhm.
it and I was up and running in September of 2020.
Right. So, I mean, I think that's really interesting because when I talk about there's many different ways that people become an entrepreneur, right? I mean, it is the rare person that lays it out with that 3, 5 year plan. Usually when people get in and then they're like, ooh, I might need a plan or what have you. But, I kind of would put your experience not in that accidental discovery, but almost accidental discovery. Like you're doing something, and then people, that's called market research, really. So then
Yeah.
people are giving you this feedback. You're like, wow, there's this external confirmation already. That's a really good sign of that's there's something to be said there. And
Yeah.
then I know that we shared that, then you went into some fairs and markets. And
Yeah.
I mean, we're not talking that you went home with a couple $100. You were, it
No,
was
it was
thousands
crazy.
of
Yeah.
dollars. People were buying your stuff off the table. And I love the story where you went to this fair or market or whatever it was,
Mhm.
and you completely sold out and had to go home and stay up till 3 in the morning
Yeah.
just to have product to sell the next day. That's how successful it
Oh, yeah.
was.
I wasn't sure because that was a December Christmas market.
Yeah.
And starting in the end of September at my first market, I'm like, "Okay, well, not that many people know who I am or how this tastes. So, you know what? I should be good with a couple hundred blends, different items."
Yeah.
And then the first day, about an hour left, I'm like, I'm almost sold out. I'm like, this is crazy. So by the end of the day, I had nothing left on the table. So then, yeah, I had to go home. And my ex was like, "You look very stressed." And I'm like, "Well, of course I am." I'm like, "I sold out today." And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I made over $2,700." So I stayed up all night pretty much to make more to sell the next day. And I only made enough to make $1,800, but all in all, that weekend was amazing.
Don't you love it? Those are fantastic stories. Those are like, how did you get started now that you're in da 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 da.
Hmm.
So tell us how, like, I mean, the truth of it is you're coming home, there is stress, you've got a partner in your life, you've got other things that you're going on, you're part of a family business. So what are the things that you do to be able to deal with that kind of, all of a sudden you've got this instant success? And so look at, I always say, entrepreneurs manage, don't manage. You know what I mean? Like
No,
we're like fine, and 2 hours later we're like out of our minds.
yeah,
So
exactly.
what, right? So where's your support? What do you do to kind of stay happy, healthy, and on top of things?
Well, since I had my hip replaced and I'm in no pain anymore, I actually go bike riding. I go mountain biking and hiking, and I love it. And I spend lots of time with my dog. She is so special to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I just go crazy because there's nothing that will stop that. But all in all, I have a good support system with my mom. My mom is my rock. She helps me out when I need it, and she has always had faith in me.
That's awesome. And I think that's really important. So, as you guys are listening out there, I think that these are the gems that when we listen to other people's stories that we take to heart, right? Because having someone, whether it's a family member or someone that you can be really real with, that's so important as you're building your business or building your life or taking on a mission. Like, we've got a couple of big projects going on over here, and there's those people that you can show up on the Zoom with, like, I don't know, not in your finest and not in your finest hour, and just like, blah,
Yeah,
because there's so many things to think about when you're running a business, and just having that place of, being able to be real and transparent, because so many
exactly.
times we're putting our best foot forward, right? We're having to put our best foot forward. So how long has this been going on? You said September 2020?
Yes, so it's 2022 now. So I've been in business for uh almost 2 years.
Yeah,
Oh no, it's been 2 years. It's
it's been
October.
2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Happy
been 2 years.
anniversary. Happy anniversary. You
Yeah,
know what? Here's
this year has just flown by. So I
here's what I love when you talk to an entrepreneur. I'm like, so you're talking to someone that's kind of living our crazy life. And I'm like, what day is it? They're like, right? I don't know. What day is it? And I'm like, that's how you know you're in passion.
yeah,
Honestly, I think it's an indicator of passion, because the days come and it's not like you're, completely absorbed, but you're in passion, right? So,
exactly.
someone's like, oh, hey, are you free Sunday? You're like, I don't know. I got it. Let me see. Can I move something? Can I, like, cause you're in passion, you're in passion.
Exactly.
So that's awesome. So, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
And congratulations for taking on the mission, and way to go, mom. Right. It's nice to have that. It's nice to have that rock. As a mom, we always hope that our kids would say nice things about us, particularly on air.
Well, exactly. And it's
Particularly
true.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, well, you know what? Let's get into it a little bit. So it's a food business, and like you
Yeah,
said, you were a little worried about people going, "Hey, I love it," or "I don't love it," which I think we all as entrepreneurs do. But you get that immediate yes or no. Like,
exactly.
it's not like someone's getting a 6-month coaching program from you and they don't really know the results. Right? They go home, they put it on their food, they're yay or nay. I have to tell you, I was very appreciative of someone who's steeped in health and wellness, that when I looked at this bottle, and I think it's the first bottle of lemon pepper I've ever looked at that's not doused with sugar,
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah,
Oh,
I was just so impressed. I know, right? So I've been gluten free and sugar free for 30 years. People thought I
yeah.
was crazy back then. Now it's like, oh, have you heard? I'm like, yeah, kind of. So, so tell us a little bit about the business. Like you just said that did 100 bottles, and like, so how many products do you have?
Well,
And
I have 17 blends right now. I'm in the works
that's a
of
lot.
60 more. I'm
Woo!
doing all my curries, so my Indian, my Thai, and different stuff like that. And I have lots of requests from people because I listen to my customers, and they're
Mm-hmm.
like, "Hey, have you ever thought about trying this? Like, we've been looking for this." So I write down every suggestion that I hear from my customer,
Mm-hmm.
and about 90% of them, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to do that." So I'm in the works of a whole bunch right now, and so before Christmas for sure, they'll be launched.
Wow. Well, that's not far, because, I know that people can be
No,
hearing this podcast at all sorts of different times of the year. So honestly, that's less than 2 months away.
yeah,
That's 2 months away.
yeah,
So
no
that's
pressure.
the kind of pressure we put on ourselves, right? That's the pressure that we put on ourselves. Um, so here you are raising an entrepreneur home, and you've got this, budding, exploding business that's going on, which is amazing. And what do you see kind of like, what do you see for yourself in the future? Is it, are you going to continue to do this maybe wholesale online? Do you have ideas? Like, what's your ideas of what this looks like for you down the road?
Well, right now I'm actually working on a website so I can sell to people across Canada. Because right now I only have my Facebook page. You can
Yeah,
order off there for sure.
yeah,
You just give me a message and my number's on there. You can text me, call me, whatever. And but the website will make it so much more easier for people to come see exactly what I have and place an order and have it shipped right to their door.
yeah.
It's a little slow in the making because I'm not that computer smart and I'm doing it myself, but so far so good.
So far, so good. That's the beginning of a business. I know a very good web person that could probably help you if you want. And so, but that's what happens right in the beginning of a
Yeah,
business. You are wearing all those hats, and then as you're able to, afford, or you recognize that your time is better spent somewhere else. It's always a financial leap, right? Like, don't
yeah.
you find it's a financial leap? When you did your labels, it was a financial leap.
Oh,
When you
big
do,
time.
and I
Yeah.
find that the further you go along in business, that financial leap doesn't necessarily change because you
No.
grow and you expand. So,
Yeah, and as you
um,
get bigger, stuff costs more money, so it just keeps you're making more money, but it just you're spending it.
yeah, I think it's fantastic that here you are, coming home, like running out and thousands of dollars, and you don't even have a website. I think that's friggin' awesome. I think that's going to be great. That's going to be that great chapter in your book. You're going to be like, same as it reminds me of the story of when I started my first, I started a massage studio, holistic health studio
Okay.
27 years ago. So let me tell you, no one, they were like, holistic what? They're like, aroma what? Like aroma. I'm like, yeah, we do aromatherapy and Ayurveda and, chakra
Yeah,
balancing
back
and
then nobody
massage. And
knew.
they're like, I don't know. They started calling me Shirley MacLaine. Anyways, so right, they did. They nicknamed. They're like, you're like Shirley MacLaine. So, but I didn't have any money either. So there was this thing out there before called Kinko's. I don't know if anyone remembers Kinko's. And it was a
Yep.
photocopy place. And if I made good money massaging that week, because I literally was massaging from my extra room in my house before I ended up having a staff of 18 and a studio and all that kind of stuff. So here I am. I had started my business when I was pregnant with my daughter. So long story short, if I made good money that week, I went to Kinko's and did photocopies of color flyers. If it was a week that I didn't make a lot of money, it was black and white. And I
Yeah.
went up and down the streets in my neighborhood and, in Kitsilano and all that cool stuff, to the point where the city of Vancouver called me and they said, can you please stop posting flyers? And I was like, I
Well,
can't
that's
afford to
you're
do.
getting your
I
name out there.
Yeah, I was like, I can't afford to do an ad. And there was only one magazine, one Common Ground magazine, that was for people that did holistic, and I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, okay, this is what I'll do. And then, eventually you afford, and you feel like you're going to afford it. You hope like you're going to afford it. And it's a lot of cart before horse, right? Like
Yeah.
you're, okay, I'm going to put that out there and it's going to come back here. And it's just that balance in that game.
No,
So
exactly.
yeah, it's the brave faith. It's the brave faith.
Yeah,
No,
you're
we're
just fingers crossed that it's gonna go okay.
Yeah, but you're getting, obviously look at you're getting great feedback, and look, you jumped off at the page and here you are sitting on a super cool podcast. Got just saying. Just
No,
saying.
it's pretty awesome. The host is amazing.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun. Okay, look, so I want to ask you because we have listeners that just love hearing stories. We have listeners that are entrepreneurs themselves or preparing to brave up, and I love talking about top performance. Top performance for us and being entrepreneurs is like that thing that we do that makes it more efficient. I always say kind of living in the cream, like the thing that we do. What would be a top performance tip that you could share for an entrepreneur? Something that you do that makes your business easier or makes your sales faster or like allows you to have success quicker? Is there something that you do personally? Like you said, listen to your customers is one of them. Like, what do
Yeah.
you do that helps your business?
I make sure to stay on top of trends because
Okay.
with like fashion, food has trends. So if you don't keep up with it, you're not going to sell as much because you're not the thing that people should have. So I make sure I keep my eye on that all the time. And then I also if there's that one thing that's going to help make production faster, even if it's a couple $1,000s and you're not really sure if you should do that right now, buy it. Somehow get the money, purchase it, because it will make your life a heck of a lot easier. I
Mm-hmm.
did that when I bought a little hopper and it actually bottles my jars for me. I cut down my production time by like 75%.
Oh,
So way
wow.
quicker. So I can make more product way more quicker so I can get more up because it's just me. So I
Yeah.
have to make it all myself and label it myself. That I'm getting a little bit better at now after 2 years of putting them on by hand. They're still a little lopsided, but it's okay. It gives it some character.
Oh my gosh. So, I used to own an aromatherapy company. And so you're putting in herbs, and I used to put in essential oils. And I remember when my daughter wanted to make some money, and I was like, I have a job for you. I have a job for you. And taught her how to label. And then my niece decided that she wanted to move from Toronto to Vancouver, and she was like going to go hang out in Auntie Deb's. And I'm like, let me tell you what hangout looks like. You're going to go like it ain't for free over here. So you go, and they used to go into my room on top of the massage table and label, you know, I'm like, I'll feed you. I'll feed you,
Yeah, well,
you
that's what I
know?
do too.
Yeah. Right. It's like, I'll feed you. You're gonna have spices forever. You have
Yeah.
an ongoing, contract that I love it. I love the
Yeah, my
grassroots of it.
friends
And
come over. They're like, "Oh, what are you doing?" "I'm working." They're like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Yeah, grab some labels." And they're like, "Seriously?" "Yeah, grab a drink, grab some labels. Let's just sit here and visit. I have to get this done."
yeah,
And my friends have
absolutely.
been really good,
No,
so I
it's
like
so
their
good.
support too.
It's so good. It's so fun. Um, I hope you remember us when you have this great success. I mean, I think you have this aura of success around you, my friend. Um, Tell us something about you we don't know. Tell us something about you don't know.
Oh, something people don't know.
What don't we know? Well,
Hmm.
our listenership probably doesn't know a whole lot. You could probably pull from
No,
anything,
probably
but
not.
it's like that question. I love that question because it makes people think not just about themselves, but it's like it's an interesting the things that people have done, the things that people have experienced are so interesting. Like people it's like, hey, so what have you done? I'm like, I don't know. I bungee jumped backwards off a crane in Montreal. They're like, really? You know what I mean? It's just those anomaly things that
Yeah.
probably explains more about me than I want it to. But yeah, what's something about you we don't know?
Well, I am 36 years old and I already have a complete prosthetic hip, which
Wow.
lots
How
of
did
people
that
don't
come
know.
about? How did that come
I got
about?
really sick quite a few years ago, and it wasn't looking too good for me. So the doctors told my family that he's probably not going to make it. So say your goodbyes. And the specialist, they're like, you know what? Let's just try one last thing because I was going into major as respiratory failure. It was bad. And
Mhm.
then they pumped me full of a insane amount of steroids, and yeah, it saved my life, but gave me stage 3 vascular necrosis. So my hip was
Ah.
basically over 50% collapsed in on itself. It's all jagged and stuff. So I walked like a hunchback with my cane for almost a year and a half until the doctors took me serious that I was in pain, like really bad pain and crying almost every day,
Mhm.
to meeting the surgeon and 3 months later having my hip replaced completely, which was unheard of, but it was that bad.
Wow, that is insight, my friend. That is insightful. That is, well, wow.
Yeah.
It's not the first time that I've heard about people having to convince doctors that their hip is actually really causing them that much
Yeah.
pain. It is
Yeah, well, the first
extremely pain.
doctor said I was fat and it's my sciatic. So I was like, okay, I'm going to trust you. You're the doctor. So I started doing the exercise and it got worse. So then I finally got in
Mm.
to see my doctor and he was really mad at the other one because like, that's not your sciatic. He's like, there's something wrong with your hip. So he got me into an MRI right away.
Wow. Wow. Well, that's definitely something that we didn't know about you, but it's such a story of duration and resilience, you know? The interesting things that we go through as people. It's
Exactly.
really I mean, I think that's what's behind every product, that's what's behind every story, it's what's behind every conversation that sits. It's like, when people like, I get to do this for a living. I love that way of thinking. Like, I really, we get to know the insides of people, the stories behind them, and it's so not refreshing, but I can't, the word, it's like, it's invigorating in a way,
Hmm.
because we're, we're all just people doing the best we can with the circumstances that come up. And,
Yep.
it's like this life of overcoming, like, wow, it's amazing.
Yeah.
That's,
No,
it's,
if you put your mind to it, you can do anything. It's You just have to have the dedication and the drive to do it and the want. If you don't
yeah.
really want to do something, it's not going to happen.
So do you find like this whole world of spice and this whole world, I love to talk about trend, because people wouldn't think that. Now I'm a foodie. I love foodie. I think me and my son have watched more Food Channel. I don't think they ever have to than we do. And I would just found it, as a foodie, I found it really important to teach my kids how to cook really early on.
Yes.
And we make a different Christmas. I mean, we just really enjoy the experience of food and the experience of having people over. And I love entertaining. I love, I mean,
Me too.
having people over and just that community. I was raised that way. That we all got together, and of course the adults all sat around in the kitchen and you know played cards. And as one of the elder cousins, I had to take care of the younger cousins. But as you're like, you got to pass that job on. But I think there's just something really about food that represents community.
Oh, big time, big time. It brings everybody together. Like
Yeah.
the kitchen, they say, is the hub of the home, and it is. I spend
Best
the
parties.
most of my time in my kitchen.
Yeah, best parties
Well,
are
because
always
the
in the
rest of my house
kitchen.
is full of herbs and spices, so there's no room for anything else. But
That's where you are, right? That is where you are. Um, okay, so I want to ask you something else. I want to say, let me see. I wanted to ask you a question about, well, I think you've answered some of it, but what is something that's on your bucket list? Here's what I've known is that when we put goals out there, or when we say something, it's interesting. Someone might listen to this 3 months, 3 years, 6 months, and go, wow, I think I could really help that person with that. Or so what's something on your bucket list? And it doesn't have to do with your business even, but it could just do with anything in your life. What's something that you want to accomplish
hmm,
before?
I want to fly. No, myself, but no. Um, that's a hard one actually. Like I've done so much in my life. I've been very privileged and stuff later on in life. Like when we first started, it was we struggled and
Yep.
stuff. So we worked hard as a family to get to where we are now. Um, so I just want to be successful, and I want my parents to be proud that what I decided to do with my life is something that has been successful for me, because I
Yeah.
think that'll make them very happy.
That's a great bucket list. That's a great bucket list. Okay, so look, at people are probably wondering, what's your top three sellers? Like
My
what's the
top
ones
three.
that what is the ones that they have you up at night making night after night?
The garlic and herb is it is the best seller because it is 100% versatile. You can put it on anything. There's people that make dips with it. There's people that just eat it out of the jar. So that one is the number one seller. Apart from that, like the steak spices do really good. Like my touch of smoke steak seasoning is delicious. And then my signature steak, that's my favorite one that I created because the turmeric and the chili powder that I use in it.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then another one that I had really fun doing was my apple pie pork rub. That one, it makes your whole house smell like Christmas any time of the year. And it's delicious. And you make an applesauce to go along with it, and it's beautiful.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you for that. Okay, so where can people find you? So just we're going to put it all in the show notes.
Yeah.
I mean, you've had such an interesting life, Chad, and you've had these incredible experiences, and I just love it. I think it comes through your food. Like, you know what I mean? Like when I open the box, like it's a good feeling. Like
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people can't see you because they're listening and they're not watching the video and they're just audio, but there's just a really great feeling. That's how I felt when the box arrived. That's how I feel when we opened the box. You got my son all excited. Like, I think you just have that great feeling and that great aura about you. I'm sure that, and I believe that. So I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner. And one of the most, I cook, and I remember a story, and you'll love this. So it was a year that I was in business, and it
Mhm.
was a tight year, right? It was a really tight year. And I remember talking to my Ayurvedic teacher, and I'm like, I've always gave cash bonuses for everybody, and I made them exciting. And we of course in Canada only have loonies. We don't have dollar bills. So I used to go get these incredible. I used to go to the bank and get $1 American, and I used to give them cash. But you get $1 and you stack it up and you put a big red bow on it. It looked really, really
Oh,
sexy,
cool.
right? Yeah, because it's like a high stack. Like you can,
Yeah.
And so everybody loved that. And I said to her that year, I said, it's been a little tight year. It was the year after things were happening in the US and the economy. And then they had just all sorts of things. I said, it's a little tight year. And, I don't think the bundles are going to be as high. And I'm like, and she goes, Deb, you're an amazing cook. And I said, well, thank you. Yes. And kind of came out of nowhere. And she goes, that from an Ayurvedic standpoint, to feed somebody is the highest level of love, really. And I remember when I did my treatments with her, I moved into her house for 6 days, and that was part of the deal, that she, cooked and you do these treatments, whatever. And she said, and so I started from that moment on, instead of taking the staff out for dinner, and really, and I cooking. And it became it's such an act of love to cook for people. Like, I had a call from someone from yesterday and their wife passed away. And I said, if you were close by, I'd be cooking you meals. Yeah. Whenever anyone in the neighborhood had a baby, I'm like, okay. And my family, we just cook up and we give them, and we would literally deliver food, like already done at dinner time, not for months on time, but, for the first month or so, they have food. And I think it's such an act of love and a gift of love and what have you. I just know that, and I can see that you've really tapped into that with this. So here I am kind of going on and on and on, but I want you to tell people where they can find you, because you said there's a Facebook page.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook right now at Spice Addicts. It's actually Spice Addicts 2020, because for some reason Spice Addicts was already taken on Facebook. So that's how you find me on there. So I have a page there. I have all my products there. I have to update it because I've been a little bit busy trying to get my website up and going.
Yeah.
But so you can find me there. I'm also on Instagram and LinkedIn right now.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. No, that's good. I think that covers the basis.
Sorry. I'm also in a store in Scotch Creek, BC. It's called the Pickle Trunk.
The Pickle Trunk.
The Pickle Trunk.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I wouldn't expect it to be anything else.
Sourced products, and it's all like homemade, and it's delicious. The ketchup he sells there, I hope he still does, is amazing.
Okay. So I have to ask a question before I ask a question.
Yeah.
So is one of your goals for your business to have people carry your product as well? So you'll wholesale to retail or wholesale into stores, or have restaurants use your spices, or is it any of that in your future?
Oh, I love for that to happen. Like I won't go into like major like chains, like superstore stuff like that. So it's not, my product doesn't fit that. Mine's more of like a boutique type of store.
Okay.
And stuff, because the quality of herbs and spices that I do use and source out are impeccable.
Well, you heard it, people. We're going to add that to the bucket list. And so, for you chefs out there, other than the ones at home, the home chef, let's just put that thought out there for you. Okay. So we're going to completely change direction. Okay. Everyone knows where to find you. Your story is amazing. Honestly, I can't even imagine what your family would have gone through, just knowing that, getting that kind of news. And then all of a sudden it's, you recovering. And then, here you are, healthy, back, walking in the forest, building your business. I mean, honestly, congratulations on everything, because that is internal source. Like that is pulling it up from your bootstraps and having to overcome many things. So you should speak in schools. But anyways, I don't know why I'm telling you that. I'm just telling you what to do. Speak in schools. Okay. So you are now going on a desert island, and it's you and you, and that's it. This is it. You're going on a desert island and you're not coming back, and you have one suitcase. And in that suitcase, you have room for one album. What album do you take with you that you couldn't imagine not listening to for the rest of your life?
That is a tough one.
Isn't it? I know.
Holy.
It's kind of like saying, so you only can take one spice. What's it going to
be? Yeah. It'd have to be some sort of like mix. Like
no.
Oh, it has to be just like a band.
There's no greatest hits. There's no playlist. It's one band, or one crew. Like what we're giving you an album. At least we're not making it a song, right?
Oh, that I'd be like, no, I quit. I'm done.
So what are you taking, darling?
have to be a dork and say share.
That's not dork. That's super cool.
She is amazing and timeless, and you can sing all her songs and you can dance to all her songs, and she just
Yeah.
makes you happy. When I
Yeah.
saw her in 2004, it's a long time ago. It was awesome show.
Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. I don't actually think in all the shows that we've done that anyone has said share yet. So I'm so glad it was you. I'm so glad it was you. I understand it is a difficult question. It is absolutely a
It
difficult
is very
question.
hard. There's so many
Yes,
good musicians out there.
I know, I know. So, hey, I want to let the audience know that you guys, again, are amazing. And we are so grateful. I know what you're going to do. You're going to send in comments like you do. We bring in guests that you want to hear from. I know that you've gotten inspiration from Chad today. Please do what we all do is to support each other, is share, 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 share this episode. If you see yourself sitting where Chad's sitting, this is not difficult. I'm really easy. It's deb@debdrummond.com. Okay, so you can just reach out and we can have that conversation about you being on the other side of the screen. And look, you guys, I want to tell you what something, there's the things that are coming up. We have just launched the 2023 entrepreneurial planner. And so you can reach out to us as well. So we've got the sales tracker, which is now up on Amazon. And that is for people that are in business, that have customers or prospects or leads, and they want to hit the top performance, meaning that they want to do exactly what Chad was saying when he got his, hopper machine, is you just kind of want to go from the milk to the cream. You just want to make things so much easier and quicker and attentive. And it does all that. And it's got a training video inside there with a nice QR code from me. And I am so excited because one of my biggest, obviously I create platforms for entrepreneurs. One of my biggest joys is hearing success stories or hearing less stress stories. Same thing. Okay. So you can save yourself time and energy and effort and some strain in this beautiful world of business or your projects or whatever it is that you're doing. So this planner has been made and created for you people that are busy, that have business or projects, and it's personal and business development. I always say it's the best of Brendan Bouchard and Brene Brown. But the biggest thing is that there is 64 people like Chad will be in next year's,
Yes, it will.
that has given a beautiful inspirational quote. And when you hover over the QR code, you're going to see this amazing quote pop up. It's going to inspire you. You can share it with the world. Some of them have videos. I was listening to one last night of an amazing musician that put a song in there for you guys. So it's really, really beautiful. And I would love for you to have it. And guess what? The year is coming to an end and you need to plan for next year. So if you'd like to get a planner, we'd like for you to have and try ours. Okay, so you've got some things there. We're looking forward to hearing from you, Chad. Thank you so much. I know you're busy. I know you're probably like staring at a whole bunch of things that you need to do, but we appreciate you taking your time out, and we're so happy for you for having such immediate success. Congratulations.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so awesome for you to have me on your show.
Awesome.
Okay,
well,
to be successful.
Absolutely. You guys, we'll see you later. You guys are cool. You're groovy, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Bye for now.
Bye.